We are going to try to be realistic today, and we are trying to answer the question: are the Cardinals a legitimate playoff team right now? And if they are, great. If they're not, if we get to the end of the assessment and we think, okay, the Cardinals are not a playoff team, we're going to go over what the Cardinals still need to upgrade in order to become that playoff team. But first, let's check in with how they've done since the last time we recorded a week ago. Cardinals are 3-3 in their last 6 games. They went 2-2 against the Padres. Very disappointing series, if you ask me, especially the way the last game went. I know Riley O'Brien's going to blow a save from time to time, but really felt like the Cardinals had that one wrapped up. But they go 2-2 against the Padres, 1-1 against the A's thus far. They lost last night, which brings their record to 24-18. They're 2.5 games back in the NL Central, puts them at third place, just behind the Brewers. The winning percentage puts them in third place just barely. And the St. Louis Cardinals are 5-5 in their last 10 games. And as we said, today's topic, are the Cardinals a playoff team? We're going to go through the roster again, and we're going to assess it. We're going to go over it with a fine-tooth comb, and we're going to start with the offense. Currently, the offense for the St. Louis Cardinals is tied for number 13 in home runs, 10th in runs scored, 14th in stolen bases, 16th in average, 16th in on-base percentage, 14th in slugging, and number 9 in WRC plus. And all of those stats are courtesy of Fangraphs. And I think the Cardinals have some really good players at the top of their lineup and some young players that you can really build around. The first one, obviously, is JJ Weatherholt, and I don't think I need to go deep into it, but I will tell you that I think he's a stud. I think he's the franchise player right now. This is the guy you build your franchise around. He's currently on pace, according to Eric Cross on Twitter, 126 runs, 32 home runs, 87 RBIs, 20 steals, 86 walks. And I believe this was posted before yet last night's game. So take that for what it is. That's an incredible pace for a rookie to be on. And certainly we haven't seen anything like that for a while from a Cardinals rookie. So JJ Weatherholt's the man, and I think he's a legitimate cornerstone franchise player. Jordan Walker has been awesome as well. And his current pace, and again, I think that this was posted by Sleeper STL Cardinals yesterday. He's on pace for 44 home runs, 120 RBIs, 28 stolen bases, which is kind of a surprise to me, 180 hits, 76 walks. He is going to strike out a lot, but that's what comes with the territory with the power hitter. Almost 200 strikeouts at 192 Ks, but you'll swap that for somebody who can hit 40-plus bombs. So again, Jordan Walker, who's going to turn 24 here very soon, still very young, still a lot of years of control left with his contract. And you go on down the line. Alec Burleson, I think, is very solid, gives you really good offense at the first base spot. Ivan Herrera. There are some questions about, is he a DH or a catcher going forward, especially with the catching prospects that are coming up through the system, Jimmy Crooks, Raniel Rodriguez, etc. But he's a solid bat, and I feel pretty good about the top four. You look at the top four in the order for the Cardinals, I feel very comfortable with that. I'll also throw Mason Wynn in there. I think although Mason Wynn is probably never going to be a superstar caliber player with his bat, I think he can give you plus offense at times. So we'll group those 5 players in the category of, okay, I feel really good about this group of players that we can start to build around. But outside of that, it gets kind of dicey. And Nathan Church has been pretty good. And, Nathan Church has been about as good as we could have expected. And I think he is the kind of player that Chaim Bloom likes to build around, a guy who plays good defense, that's fast, that makes contact. He's currently hitting 252 with an OPS of 703, and he's hit 5 home runs, which is nice. But I don't know if Nathan Church is a solid, dependable, everyday starter in the outfield. Maybe he can prove me wrong. Maybe that this time next week, we'll be talking about how Nathan Church, oh my gosh, he's the next corner outfielder stud for the St. Louis Cardinals. That's the way things have been going this year. but I just don't know if he's an everyday starter. And then you look at Nolan Gorman at third base, and he's doing Nolan Gorman things, although his defense has been pretty good. Nolan Gorman's hitting 226, an OPS of 666. It's just not good enough. He has hit 5 home runs, driven in 22 RBIs, but again, you're looking for something more from your third base spot, at least in my opinion. And then you go down the order to the eighth and ninth spot, and it is absolutely dreadful. Now, Pedro Pages gives you plus defense at the catcher position, so you can kind of live with that. But what you can't live with is what Victor Scott has been doing in center field, hitting 178, an on base percentage of 243, slugging percentage of 228, and an OPS of 471. That is a below average, below replacement level player at negative 0.4 wins above replacement. He's actively hurting your team at this point, and I hope he can turn it around. But I also think that Victor Scott has gotten a lot of chances, I should say. And collectively, this group of players is hitting 216. They're averaging 3.5 home runs. That comes from Nathan Church and Nolan Gorman mostly, and I guess Pedro Pages too. They're averaging 13.3 RBIs and an OPS of 609. And like I said, you need more production, even though it is the bottom of the order. You need more production than that. And the bench is also really bad. If the Cardinals want to be a truly contending team, I know it doesn't seem like much, but you need production from your bench. Think about those Cardinals teams that had Daniel Descalso coming off the bench, or I think even Matt Carpenter came off the bench in certain situations. You need those utility players that can fill roles for you and start games if you need them to. And Thomas DeJacy, Yohel Pozo, Roman Urias are all hitting below 200. And I'm not saying they have to be all-star caliber players, but I am saying that you need them to contribute a little bit more than they're contributing right now. So if you look at the totality of the offense, you feel really good about 5 players. You feel iffy about Nathan Church. You feel iffy about Nolan Gorman, and you feel really bad about the bottom 2 in the order. And you don't feel great about the bench either. So I do think the Cardinals need more offensively. Defensively, I think they've been really good. They're tied for number 6 in Fangraphs defensive metrics. So kudos there. And I think players like Mason Wynn, who's a plus defensively, Jordan Walker, who's been a plus defensively, Nolan Gorman, have to give a shout out there. He's been really good defensively. Pedro Pages, same story. So if you're going to improve the offense in those positions, you're also going to want that potential replacement to be good defensively or as good defensively. So I do think the Cardinals need to add there. I do think that they're short a corner outfielder, a third baseman, and I think catcher is something if you can get similar defense, an upgrade offensively, I do think, and of course your bench. I think your bench is lacking. So I think that there are quite a few holes there, but that separate the position players from being a group of guys that I think is a contending team versus a team that's just okay or good. Pitching. Cardinals currently ranked number 19 in ERA, tied for number 14 in quality starts. They're number 4 in saves. Thank you, Riley O'Brien. They're tied for number 1 in Major League Baseball in holds, and they are dead last in strikeouts, which is not good. So all of those stats are courtesy of Fangraphs, and we're going to go one by one through these starting pitchers, their ERA compared to their expected ERA, and see where we're at. So Matthew Liberatore, 4.40 ERA. His baseball savant page is bad. So I don't, that does not look good. But I don't think that there's really, in my opinion, when you watch Matthew Liberatore pitch, he looks like a solid starter in the major leagues. Now his expected ERA is 5.83, which is terrible. His expected batting average is 2.96, also terrible. But I think Matthew Liberatore can be a part of this rotation. I don't think he's going to be at the top of the rotation. I don't think he would be at the top of the rotation for a playoff team, a really good playoff team with a chance to win the World Series. But I think you can make the case for him to be a third, fourth starter, maybe a second starter. That's what I've been saying this whole time. And Michael McGreevy, I think, is the biggest candidate to come back down to earth, although he's been awesome. His ERA is just above 2 at 2.18. His expected ERA, however, is 5.05. Although his baseball savant page, you look up Michael McGreevy and it's really good. So I do think that McGreevy, although he doesn't really fit what Bloom's looking for, there are some things that you like. His average exit velocity against is in the 64th percentile. His walk rate's really good. But like I said, his expected batting average and expected ERA are really bad in the 20th percentile, expected batting average in the 19th percentile. And he doesn't throw hard, which isn't the end of the world. But if you can if you can learn how to pitch, which is why I'm optimistic about McGreevy going forward. And I think he just looks like a guy who knows how to pitch. And I think that can work. And again, I don't know if he's going to be a top of the line starter for you going forward, but I think in the same vein as Matthew Liberatore, I think he can be a third, fourth, fifth starter for you on a really good team. So I think that and that's important. Don't get me wrong. I think that's extremely important. Dustin May, 4.85 ERA, expected ERA, 4.64. I think he, again, similarly to the other two guys, I would put him in the same bucket, maybe a little bit lower, more of a fourth or fifth starter. And honestly, with these other two pitchers, Palante and Kyle Leahy, that's where I kind of get to the point where it's like, okay, are you a fifth starter, or are you even going to crack the rotation on a good playoff team, right? Because Andre Palante, 4.46 ERA, expected ERA 4.30. So what he's doing is probably about the level of performance that you can expect going forward. Kyle Leahy, 4.31 ERA, expected ERA of 6.04. So potentially a drop off coming in there. But he's pitched well also. And realistically, I could see, I'm more confident about McGreevy, Liberatore, Dustin May. And again, Dustin May has a 1-year contract, so the Cardinals could choose to trade him away. But those three guys I feel confident about putting in the middle to back half of a good, solid rotation. The other two guys, Palante, maybe a fifth starter. Leahy, I don't know if he cracks the rotation on a good team, but that's about as fair as I can be. So if the Cardinals are looking to be a playoff team, they don't really have an ace right now. And that would be, I think, something that is a big hole. Maybe the biggest hole on this team right now is that top of the line starter. Let's look at the bullpen. Riley O'Brien, 2.70 ERA, expected ERA 2.43, and his baseball savant page is cherry red. He looks legit. He looks like somebody that it's a good problem to have, because coming into the season, I don't think anybody expected Riley O'Brien to be as good as he is now. He's 31 years old, so it would make a lot of sense for the Cardinals to trade him away to see what they can get for him to a contender. But we'll see. I mean, right now, I think he's a legitimate closer. And I think you have some legitimate pieces in this bullpen. Jojo Romero, his expected ERA is a lot higher than his actual ERA, but I think he's just a solid bullpen arm, a bulldog, for lack of a better way of saying it. Gordon Graceffo, an ERA just under 2, but his expected ERA is above 6. I do think Graceffo is a solid bullpen arm. And then George Soriano, Matt Swanson, Ryan Stanek, Justin Brule, Jared Schuster, I think are all good. I think Soriano is probably the best out of the bunch. But Swanson, Stanek, Brule have had their moments. They've had their ups and downs. Swanson and Stanek have been really up and down. So my assessment is this. I do think that this, with Riley O'Brien as your closer, I do think that this is an above average bullpen and could work for a playoff team. But in order to become a contending team or a playoff team, which I'm going to say officially now that we've reached the end of the assessment here and we've combed through all the players as briefly and also as in-depth as we possibly could, that the Cardinals are not a playoff team. I hate to throw cold water on this enthusiasm, but heading into this season, as a brief aside here, I really didn't expect anything, and the Cardinals are 24-18. So I'm going to live in the moment. I'm going to be happy. This team is fun to watch. But I'm also going to acknowledge the truth that I don't think that they're a playoff team. This is what they need in order to become a legitimate contender. They need an upgrade at corner outfielder. Maybe that's Joshua Baez, but I don't think that they're going to rush him. They need an upgrade at third base, and I honestly think that that is more of a priority than potentially the general consensus might think, or the just the regular Cardinals fan might think. I think they need at least one bench player, possibly two, and I think they need at least one top of the line starting pitcher to anchor that rotation and to basically take the heat off of anybody who would have to take the ball in an opening playoff series. And also it just helps to have an ace at the top of the rotation, which that's probably your biggest hole right there. Now, also my want list. So there, if you've ever been gone through the process of buying a house, you have your what you need and what you want. So that was my need list in order to reach the benchmark of becoming a contender. The want list is I want one more starting pitcher, one more really good to elite starting pitcher. I want one more bench player, and I want one more good arm for the bullpen, and I want an upgrade at catcher. I'll throw that on the want list because I do think Pedro Paez's defense justifies his lack of offense. So that's the want list. And let me know what you think in the comments. And I think that is the top. And let me know if I missed something too. It's very possible. That is the list that I think takes the Cardinals from where they are now, which is a solid team. I think. I mean, I never thought the Cardinals were going to lose 100 games. I think that they have a ton of pieces that other teams would covet. You know, JJ Weatherholt being amongst the top of that list, but I never thought that they were a playoff team. You know, they're somewhere in the middle, and it wouldn't surprise me too if they contend for a wild card all year, but ultimately just fall a little bit short. I think that's probably realistic, or maybe they fall out of it, but not like 20 games back of a wild card, more like 5, 6, 7 games back is where they finish. I could see that happening too. So let me know what you think of that. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're going to briefly touch on what's coming up here for the St. Louis Cardinals. They continue their series against the Athletics today at 2:05. So this is probably going to come out at around the time that this game around first pitch of this game. Michael McGreevy takes on Jacob Lopez, and then the Cardinals head to Busch Stadium to take on their in-state rival, the Royals, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the Cardinals continue that homestand against the Pirates on Monday. So again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for downloading the podcast. Thank you for watching on the YouTube side. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, leave a review. A 5-star review helps us a lot on the podcast side. Until next time, be good, everybody, and let's go Redbirds.